is 12:17 a.m. November 8th, Saturday a.m. and this is my 11th out of 100 videos to uh to 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 improve my communication skills, my articulation skills, and to become more confident in speaking. To just be able to communicate my ideas better, to be a more interesting speaker, and to do better in interviews. And for this video, I will talk about my past week actually, and talk about how things have improved from before because of a few factors. So, where do I start? So I've had a slightly better sleep schedule this time. I've been sleeping slightly earlier. I've been taking naps now. When I found out I really need naps, and I found out that they really improve your studying efficiency. So even though you're not studying when you're napping, it'll improve the time studying afterwards, which would make it worth it. But it is a calculated, strategic risk. Anyways, ever since I've started sleeping more, I've had better ideas in general. So I would say sleep, it improves your life very indirectly. Like you won't see it directly improving your life, like suddenly things just get better. It's very indirect, and I guess it would be hard to attribute the improvements in your life directly to sleep, because sleep is just like you're just lying there unconscious. Like how is it gonna improve your life, huh? But it does, surprisingly. I would say it's definitely very hard to prove though. But in my opinion, I think it's been letting my brain come up with more complex ideas and just come up with better ideas than before. Because this week I realized I've been talking a lot more, and I've also been having much better conversations with people than before. Maybe the time when I was sleep deprived and I could have like asked a question or like made a comment about something interesting, but since I was sleep deprived, I didn't say anything. But now I would have, and I did, and it's worked out. Let me think of an example. Oh, like in physics class, I started asking more questions, and ask questions at the end of class, and that really helped me clarify some things in physics that I was confused about. Oh, and the exact same thing happened in ecology actually. I stayed at the end of class, I asked some questions, and then I got invited to his lab, the teacher's lab, and I just got a interesting tour of it, which is pretty cool. Just being curious also helps a lot in general. And I've also been thinking a lot about things like, what about what? I don't know. I'm just more about like more shower thought kind of things, because like when I'm sleep deprived, your brain doesn't have the energy to think of shower thoughts. But that reminds me of this quote: energy that is used for survival is not used for evolving. I think that's from biology, but what it means is that the energy you use to just stay alive, like the minimum, is energy that is not used to improving on yourself. So if I'm going around sleep deprived all the time, I'm using up all my energy just to stay alive, just to do the bare minimum. But if I get enough sleep, I have enough energy to do more than that, to improve on myself every day, bit by bit. A small improvement by small improvement. Maybe I get I get more self-control, and I don't look at my phone, or I get a better idea, and ask a good question, or maybe I help someone out, or something like that. So, and those small things, little by little over like months, or maybe like just from a stroke of luck, it improves your life in a great way. Oh, another thing I learned is that always asking random questions that pop into your head is always beneficial. And I actually have a few examples loading up in my brain right now. So, one of my friends, he's in like a band where they compose music and make covers for Michael Jackson, and it's really successful. And it's really impressive too. Like they record in the studio, and make music, and then they make like remasters and music, and their music gets so popular, like they can get it pressed into a record to sell to people around the world. And also, they also sell their stems for the music. Isn't that crazy? And I was like, damn, that's like the coolest opportunity, the coolest gig, coolest project I've ever seen from a student. I was like, how did you get it? And he was like, oh, I just commented on a YouTube video, saying some tips. I just saw a YouTube video of it. I commented about some tips, and then we shared Discords on the YouTube comment, and then we started calling and talking more about stuff, and here I am, working for them and doing all this cool stuff. And I was like, holy. So all of this started from a YouTube channel, or YouTube comment. So, what I learned is that you should always reach out, even online, in person, just whenever you have some idea about something. You never know what door that might open, even though it's it might not lead to anywhere. The more you do it, the more chances you get. You never know when the super big golden door is lying. So even though you speak up and nothing comes out of it, but maybe the next person you speak to, it'll be the opportunity of a lifetime. You never know. Another example that's smaller is that I'm in research. I'm doing research for a professor, right? And so there's a lot of things that I don't understand what's going on, because they don't know what's happening either, because it's new information being discovered as we speak. But anyways, there's a lot of things I don't get about the thing, so I always ask questions. And if I hadn't asked questions, I would have had no clue what they were doing, because my graduate student I'm working under is a pretty quiet person, but once you ask the right questions, you get to know him better, it makes things much better. I showed I was really interested in his research, and I was like, what papers do you think I should read to get a better understanding of what we're currently doing in research? And so he sent me his entire thesis draft. Isn't that crazy? So I gotta read it this weekend, and I gotta study for Econ. Oh my god. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Never hurts in asking. Oh, another example is just being curious in general. My friend I've been hanging out with more is very curious in his classes, and I go with him to hang out, and to just ask questions to the professor after class, just about whatever. Like today or yesterday, after the exam, we just both went to the office And then instead of asking about the exam, like, what I would normally do. And yeah, I guess, is that bad? I don't know, that's just like normal NPC behavior. But instead, we were talking about like how the brain, we were talking about how the brain like acts differently when you're sleeping, like how it functions differently. And then we went to like sleep paralysis and how, and I was talking about how like dolphins have only half their brain sleeping at one time, but there's a bird that does that too, where they like lock and then they literally glide for months at a time. And that's pretty cool. And last week, we also just hung out in a random professor's lab that we weren't even taking. But that was pretty lucky though, because that was the professor we were talking to was the most chill professor. Like his research lab, it wasn't even a research lab. It was just like a lounge with a bunch of like stuffed animals and stuff, and free snacks, and a Nintendo Switch. It was so cool. But I think from all those things, I've learned that human connection is so valuable and also so fun and interesting. Especially, no, wait. Yeah, it's so fun, valuable, and interesting because just meeting new people, it's like a whole new story with a whole new array of interests that maybe you'll find interesting, maybe you'll connect with. And who knows, maybe if you talk to them more and ask them the right questions, there'll be new opportunities. So I say always stay curious about other people and ask them about uh, what they do, where they're from, what they previously have done. Especially with professors. Professors are, if you get to know them, they're probably one of the most interesting people you'll meet because they've done so many cool things like conferences, research projects, previous teaching jobs, and they've done and learned so much that they have a lot to talk about if you ask them about it. And a lot of people don't ask them about it and only treat them as ChatGPT. Oh, hi, Professor. Can you explain this concept to me in easy to understand words? Thank you. Like, no. I guess you could do that for office hours, but like, you should also ask questions like, where you're from, or I can't think of it right now, but like, like, where you're from. Oh, you could use like the Ford mnemonic, like family, occupation, something. Like professors love talking about their kids if they have them, and they love talking about what classes they used to teach, their favorite class, education, and just for a professor, they're obviously a nerd. They love talking about biology, whatever whatever they're specializing in, of course. Like I talk with my research professor about biology and random stuff all the time. So yeah, you gotta learn. It's also a skill too. You gotta learn how to connect with different kinds of people. Some people are more outgoing and interested in something, as maybe someone else is quieter and not interested, and it might be harder to make a connection. But it's always possible. It sometimes takes skill. Oh, okay. My video is almost up to 15 minutes, so I'm gonna stop it here. But this is a very interesting video, and I'll do more of these also. Weekly reflections, and also talking about people, my friends. Okay. Goodbye. That was a good yap. I'm gonna start studying now.